I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. I said, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.
Larry Silverstein is the man that purchased the World Trade Center for $3.2 billion just 6 weeks before September 11th. The acquisition of the 99-year leasehold was the largest of the year 2001. Many people question the purchase due to the fact that the towers required $200 million in renovation, mostly related to the major asbestos problem. After the 9/11 attacks, it was revealed that Silverstein had the towers insured to specifically cover acts of terrorism. He then filed 2 separate insurance claims on the Twin Towers, stating that, in his view, each was considered a separate attack. The potential payout totaled $7.1 billion, but went to court when the insurance company, Swiss Reinsurance, argued that the 9/11 disaster was one event. The courts eventually determined that the Silverstein properties could collect $4.68 billion, a massive profit for Larry Silverstein personally, as well as Silverstein Properties. This is important, considering the fact that Larry Silverstein has recently purchased the Willis Tower in Chicago, formerly known as the Sears Tower. Security at the Willis Tower is provided by a company named Kroll, which was also responsible for managing the bunker at the World Trade Center. The Willis Tower is also suffering from an asbestos problem, much like the one that plagued the World Trade Center. According to reports in the Chicago Sun-Times, the new owners are also considering painting the entire structure silver. This is interesting because nanothermite can be applied through the use of paint. The most commonly held belief regarding the collapse of the Twin Towers in New York City is that it was caused by nanothermite technology, which was discovered in the dust particles collected from Ground Zero. There is a very distinct possibility that a major terror attack is about to take place, in some way related to the destruction of the Willis Tower. With Rahm Emanuel about to be elected as the mayor of Chicago, we can only imagine what is being planned for the people of Illinois and America as a whole.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste.
There is this inextricable tie between culture, religion, ethnicity, that most people don't fully understand. That is unique and, how can I say it, so strong with Jews worldwide. There is a, I mean, I used to say early on when I was a kid, I'd say, when I was a young senator, I'd say, if I were a Jew, I'd be a Zionist. I am a Zionist. You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist.
Well, probably one of the most comprehensive works I've ever read, Where Did the Towers Go? By Dr. Judy Wood, Ph.D., and we're going to be talking with Judy in just a moment on Coast to Coast AM. And welcome back to Coast. I'm George Norrie. Dr. Judy Wood, our special guest tonight. She came to us at the recommendation of our science advisor, head of the EnterpriseMission.com, Richard C. Hoagland, who also picked up her book, Where Did the Towers Go?, and sent it off to former Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura. Dr. Judy Wood is a former professor of mechanical engineering. She has research expertise in experimental stress analysis, structural mechanics, deformation analysis, materials characterization, and materials engineering science. And all this in the time since 9/11. She has applied her expertise to a forensic study of more than 40,000 images, hundreds of video clips, and a large volume of witness testimony pertaining to the destruction of the World Trade Center complex. Tonight, here's Dr. Judy Wood, first time on Coast to Coast. Hi, Judy.
Hello.
Good to have you with us.
Glad to be here.
Now, because I think you're just as important as the story we're going to talk about tonight because of your amazing work, tell us about you, Judy. Tell us about your background, why you got into the field that you got into, and how important that is to the work you've done here.
Wow, I used to talking about the evidence. but I guess my background is part of the evidence.
It sure is.
My bachelor's degree is in civil engineering, structural engineering. My master's degree is in engineering mechanics, which is a type of applied physics. And my PhD is actually in the area of applied physics, but it's materials engineering science, which is an interdisciplinary degree involving several different departments, all at Virginia Tech. And nothing probably could have prepared me better or prepared anyone better for this particular task of evaluating the World Trade Center disaster.
Now,
all aspects of it.
There's no question. Now, you're also a former professor at Clemson. You're not there anymore. I've got to ask you this. Was it because, are you not there because of the controversy of your work, or what happened?
Well, doing this kind of work is not good, not healthy for anyone's career.
No, it's not.
We'll leave it at that.
See, the buildings, when they fell apart, to me, just looking at the picture on the cover, it doesn't look like a controlled demolition or a pancake effect. It looks more like a total pulverization, and it just seems like it's like a waterfall effect where it's just dust is just accumulating and piling over on each other.
My name for that picture is Bubbler, the Bubbler.
Yeah.
The Midwest, the drinking fountains are called bubblers.
It looks like it could be lava coming out of a volcano. You know what?
Yeah, it's just frothing up, and it's going upward and outward.
So the big cloud, not smoke, it's dust?
The majority of it, yes.
Yeah.
And it was so fine that it went up as well. It continued breaking down. That's another important issue is these wheat checks, you can see them flying through the air and dissolving like ice cream with the dust trailing out behind them, and they don't hit the ground.
And again, what do you mean by wheat checks?
The wheat checks, the prefab units of the outer sides of the building.
Of the shell of the building. All right.
Yes.
Where the windows are put in.
Right. The three columns, 3 stories tall, and there's these 3 spandrel belts across, and they're the prefab units they use to build the towers. And you see these things flying out and dust trailing behind them. And then the intersection where they're heading towards, right afterwards, is empty. Well, it's got dust and paper.
How would you feel if someone read your book and said, Judy, you're nuts? I mean, would that bother you?
I'm used to it.
Are you?
But no one can find anything at fault. They can't fault any aspect of the book.
Well, Richard Hoagland sent your book to Jesse Ventura, who, used to be on the fence about 9/11. He isn't anymore. He thinks that they're either part of it, aware of it, or buffoons, as he would say. And, he's not so sure which of the three, but he's convinced it's one of the three. But Richard wanted him to see your book to kind of get him into this other state of mind.
Surely the awareness is there. That it was interesting when I first sent my book to my dad to read. He started out skeptical, and then he got to the point where, well, certainly Congress needs to know about this. You need to send this book to Congress. And then a little bit later, it was, well, surely they know about this already. And then he got to the stage where, we're in a heap of doo-doo. Yeah.
Well, Judy, let me ask you, because this basically cost you your job at Clemson. Was it worth it? Would you do it again?
Seeing that somebody needs to do this. Like what I told my mom, that, if I didn't do it, nobody would have a job. We wouldn't, someone needs to speak out about it. If not, if you put your head in the sand and pretend it'll go away, it isn't going to make it go away. It's going to make it happen more and more. The more people who are aware of it, the more they can help to kind of curb it.
So you bring a new mix to this. I mean, I think similarly to you in that, Bin Laden was involved. His cronies were involved. I saw the planes hit the buildings. The thing was a tragic day. beyond anything one could imagine. But I've always believed that there was another group involved that brought bin Laden into the picture to do all the dirty work, and that their intent is to topple the United States. I never, ever thought George Bush was part of this at all. A lot of conspiracy theorists believe that. I don't. He may not have been the world's greatest president by any means, but this is one thing I don't think he would have done. How much did Dick Cheney know? How much did other members know and just turn their head? That's a big question.
You made the comment earlier about the book. It's something that, should have been given to the 9/11 Commission and so forth. I essentially have done that in filing the federal Ketam case, taking the contractors for the NIST report to court on it. It's basically taking the military-industrial complex to court. I can't prove who did it, but I can prove who helped cover it up. And these people knew otherwise. Like I listed what Underwriters Lab did. ARA, Applied Research Associates, their area of expertise is development and manufacture of energy weapons.
Well, that's interesting. But my biggest concern, though, Judy, of all this has always been Building 7. That, to me, was the juggernaut, the piece of the puzzle that just didn't make sense. It didn't seem to fit. A building that collapses, a huge building that collapses, and is basically not touched at all.